I'm going to share a shocking truth with you. The government and foreign countries were stealing from you at a rate you can't even understand. While you struggled to not fall behind on your car payments, your house payments, your child support, while you struggled to maintain being able to pay for your children's extracurriculars, when you skipped family vacations the last 4 years, when you skipped Christmas, every time you had to say no to your kids because you couldn't afford it, you had to say no to your wife because you couldn't replace it, while you were saying no over and over and over again to your life, to your family, to your dreams, someone else inside the federal government was saying yes at a level you can't even fathom. You canceled your gym membership. You couldn't afford it. You canceled your Netflix account. You couldn't afford it. You canceled your children's ballet lessons. You couldn't afford it. You put food back on the shelves at the grocery store because you couldn't afford to check out. You used your credit card to pay the water bill. You traded in your favorite car for some piece of shit that you could afford. Your 7-day vacation turned into a 3-day weekend. You bought the 3-bedroom, 2-bath because you couldn't get to the 5-bedroom you needed. Just too much money. You had to pass on the neighborhood you and your wife dreamt of living in. You had to get rid of your livestock, pets, dogs, cats, because you couldn't afford to feed them and maintain them. The word no can be very beneficial, but it can also be dangerous. No implies boundaries, which is totally fine. But when you start saying no to financial and/or experiential items, the metaphysical effect it has on your life is massively detrimental. When you live on no, you'll create more no. Do you have the money? No. Do you want to go do this? No. Dad, may I have this? No. They got us as a country and as a people so deep in the nose that you couldn't even say yes to God anymore. You couldn't even say yes to your miracles. How many of you are conditioned to say no to things that you shouldn't actually be saying no to? No to opportunities, no to memories. There's nothing worse than saying no to a memory. If you're saying no to creating a memory that's foundational and that's impactful, you'll block everything good that God has for you. And the theft of the American public created a society of no. They were stealing like you can't even believe. No progress, no fun, no family, no community, no barbecues, no nothing. Just no's all over the place. You go through times in life that you must say yes. Yes to risk and yes to miracles. God loves yes. It's time to say yes again.
Welcome to the JJ Carrell Show. What are you saying yes to today? Anything? Saying yes to anything? Saying yes to the 7-day vacation or your trip to Europe, or you're going to take your family to, heck, I don't know, Disneyland, the land of pedophiles. I don't know. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? My episode title is Americans are raging. And we are raging pissed off. And why shouldn't we be? Christmas has ended. New Year's has ended. So what does that leave us? Well, it leaves the multitude of Americans per data in debt. In debt. And as I watch this comes from that great show with Michael Douglas, where his life's falling apart as an American. He's going through the city of LA, and it's all immigrants and illegal immigrants and multitude of languages, and everything's broken. His ex-wife won't let him see his kids. America's had it. You can feel it. The American anger is rising. I could literally play 1,000 videos, 10,000 videos, 100,000 videos of Americans just being freaking raging, pissed off. And when people say to me, well, JJ, you know what, man, I watch your show, but sometimes you come off a little strong and it's a black pilling. And I go, well, you know what? Here's my real response to that every time. And And may God give me some mercy. I just tell them, go fuck off. And I hate to say use harsh language like that, but honestly, I don't have time. I have these discussions with people sometimes when I allow myself into this world of it's not as bad as you think. And I go through the litany with these people. I say, really, you're financially better off now than you were 5-10 years ago? Well, no. Okay. Your dollar's stretching, right? You're saving a lot of money every month? No. Oh, so you're working overtime or you have a side hustle, right? I know you have a side hustle. Yeah. You retired, but you're working. Why would you retire? Well, things have gotten so bad. I have to go back to, okay. But at the same time that you're telling me it's not that bad, and then we go through, just peel the one layer of the onion back. I go, wait a minute, there's a bigger onion. It stinks. And then I make you through just some common sense, admit that, yeah, you know what, things aren't that great. And then I add on to that. It's not all America struggling by themselves and everyone's pitching in to make America great, like the Great Depression. No, all Americans are struggling, and our government's taking our money when we're struggling and giving it to third world peasants, third world savages. And not only are they giving the third world peasants and savages free healthcare, free education, free housing, free food, debit cards, EBT debit cards with tens of thousands of dollars on it, at least thousands of dollars on every single month preloaded. Not only do we do that, but we set up a system where our government absolutely knows, a la Tim Walz in Minnesota, know that they are not even thankful for the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars that we give a family of 10 from Somalia, the Mogadishus of the world. They steal. Not only do we give them all of our money while we suffer because we're good Christians, and we give our money to Muslims, and we give our money to people from the third world that believes in some quasi-Christianity voodoo, and they take our money, and then they say, well, you know what? They look like they're so stupid because they're giving us money. They probably have more. We can take more. And they do. They steal from us. And our government, both state, local, and the feds, know they're doing it and allow it to be done. Well, that's a big allegation, JJ. Yeah, it is a big allegation. Let me back it up for a second. Let me just back up and support what I just said. You're telling me that the Somali community, 100,000-ish in Minnesota, their average IQ is below the mental retardation IQ level. They can't speak English. They don't associate or assimilate in any way. That retarded group of people has been able to bilk, to steal, to fraud now at the baseline $18 billion from one state. Or did they get help from the state of Minnesota? And they did. How do we know that? Well, over 480 employees from the Department of Health Services in Minnesota made allegations, made complaints to Tim Walz personally, to his office, and they said, shut up. So much so the fraud was so bad, 480 plus employees created an X account, and posted all of the fraud, all their grievances, all their allegations, and they were told to shut up and ignore it. $18 billion goes through the governor's line item budget, and no one sees it. I'm supposed to believe that. Look, I'm not a retarded Somalian that has a grossly deformed head. I'm not a woman wearing a dirty headscarf. I'm not wearing a full flowing robe. I'm not missing several of my teeth. I don't have eyes going different ways. I'm not functionally retarded, so don't talk to me like I'm a retard. The people in the state government knew that they were stealing money. then the feds have to give money to the states for the child care, for the autism through Medicaid, Medicare. The federal government knew. Of course, the federal government knew, because Joe Biden's administration said they spent at least $750 million to over $1 trillion in 4 years on illegal aliens and immigrants. Are you telling me they didn't know where the money was going? Are you telling me this all just is just happening in a bubble in Minneapolis? That's what you're going to try to explain to me? We are being absolutely destroyed. Economically, spiritually, physically, we are being absolutely destroyed. And at the same time, we are giving illegal and legal immigrants, look, we just call them illegal immigrants, because all this refugee crap is just absolute fraud. Under Joe Biden, absolute fraud. Under George Bush, under Bill Clinton, under Obama, it's all fraud. It's all fraud. And then on top of, while we're all struggling, and as we're getting our credit card bills are starting to come in, and we see what we spent for our families on Christmas, and we see that, well, we didn't even buy 50, 60, 70% of what we bought last year, but it costs more. How does it cost more? Well, because we print more dollars in a year. Well over $1 trillion, $2 trillion of printed money. So our money is not valuable anymore. And what's our response? What is our response to all this? Well, let's give more money to the foreign people, foreign countries, and foreign citizens. Let's give another $900 million to Ukraine. They've already said they've lost at least $150 billion. $150 billion they can't find. Let's send another $682 million to Israel. What are we doing? What are we doing? There is a cry. There's no more begging. There's no more asking. These are, and we're not pleading. It's almost like a rally cry, a war cry to the politicians. Stop everything. Stop all legal immigration. Stop all the illegal immigration, and get everyone that's in our country out. And what is the response from Speaker Johnson and John Thune? Last week, they come up with a bill to add $5.6 billion to bring more refugees in. This isn't tone deaf. No one's tone deaf. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about you as an American. They care about power and wealth. And the more they can fund NGOs, then the NGOs turn around, kick the money back to the politicians through payments to their campaigns. Or the best way to do it is to take a spouse of a politician and put them on the board of an NGO, not the main NGO, but one that's 2 or 3 levels down. And as the money gets cleaned through the NGO, it falls down to one of their sub NGOs. And politicians X, Y, and Z's wife or spouse or whatever they have now is on the board, and they get paid. We're being robbed, America. We're not $38 trillion in debt. We are $38 trillion in the red because they stole $38 trillion. Elon Musk came out last week and said, just from his time in Doge, that he can conservatively make the statement that at least $1.5 trillion a year is frauded, wasted, and abused. That's 2 decades of stealing. We're at $38 trillion in debt. I can't. So I'm asking this question. I can't even wrap my brain around what $1 trillion is. Can you wrap your brain around what $1 trillion is? A billion it's even not even conceivable for me. But a trillion makes a billion look like nickels. Think about what I'm just saying. $1 billion, if you put in it would fill my rooms in my house up. And I would be like, I can't wrap my brain around how much money I have. Now, if I took all that money and just said, well, that's just nickels. Here's 5, 10, 20, 30 homes filled with $1 trillion in cash. That's what we're doing now. That's where we're at. $38 trillion given to foreign countries through war. If I seem more angry today, if I seem more pissed off, I am. You're gauging me correctly. And maybe I was thinking about before I came on, why do I have a bigger chip on my shoulder today? Why am I little on edge? And I think it's because I've had conversations this past weekend with people. And they questioned some things that I was saying. And so we had not a debate, just a conversation where I was able to just triangulate them and say, okay, you don't feel better than you did 4 years ago. You don't feel better than you did a year ago. You're doing side hustles. You're doing all this. And then they have to admit, okay, yeah, but the government's going to help. Okay. Oh, let's go through the government. Has anyone been arrested? It's been a year. Has anyone been arrested? No. We bombed Iran. Now we bombed Venezuela. I have a very strong take on that, and it might be very different from what you would even imagine me saying. I'm a huge supporter of Donald Trump. And what he's done in a year is been incredible. But at the same time, what he has not done has been incredible. I think I'm speaking for a lot of Americans when I say we've had it. We've absolutely had it. I have some videos lined up just to get a flavor of how America feels. And this cuts across what's amazing about using X and social media is this cuts across all race, all ethnicities, all sexes, all genders. There's only 2 genders. All across a social, economic, everyone's feeling it and everyone's pissed off. So I want to take some time. I just want to show a couple videos because it's incredibly important just to drive this point home. Not only just to drive the point home, but for my audience that's watching, that you're not alone. This isn't an enclave of white people or black people or Hispanics. And no, this is the collective America where we've had it. We're pissed off. We don't want to do this anymore. We want to thrive. So I'm going to show you one video after another, just so you don't feel alone. Because you're not alone. You're not an anomaly. You're not an anomaly. You're not strange. You're not angry for no reason. You're angry and pissed off because there's a reason to be angry and pissed off. And there's millions, tens of millions of people like you. So don't ever feel as like, okay, I'm strange, or somebody says that, oh, you're too pissed off black pilling. No, there is a society of us in the tens of millions. Do you think I want to be pissed off? Do you think that this is enjoyable for me? Oh, no. If you knew me outside when I'm just with my son and my family, we laugh, we have a great time, because that's what I want. We go to the movies, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, damn it, what the hell's going on? Check my bank account, money's depleting, costs are skyrocketing, and we're giving money to people that hate us. While I have to struggle and I have to make those decisions that video that I opened the episode with, making the decisions. Do I say yes or do I say no? That's powerful. Think about that. Think about you thinking in your brain. Do I say yes or do I say no? And it has a psychological impact on you. And if it doesn't piss you off, I have complete ownership of my life. Meaning, I understand there's outside forces that are having a profound impact on my life. And I can't do nothing about it. I can't do anything about it. But at the same time, I have 100% ownership of my life, meaning it's good or bad, I own it. It's because of me and what I have done, good or bad. But it gets harder and harder to just have complete ownership of your life when you're watching things happen in real time that are detrimental to you and your well-being. And when I say my well-being, I'm saying that in a very specific way. Me, my wife, and my son, and then my brothers and sisters, then my community, and then my nation. And no one can argue differently. No one can, because we're all feeling it. We may be on different sides of the aisle. We may be on other sides of the grocery store, but we all know it. Tough times. So I want to show this clip. Language. But language needs to be said. Curse words have profound meanings. And we're in the age where more than ever words matter. And people are so angry. They're so upset and distraught and have so much resentment that is pouring out in bad language. But these are the times we live in. Let's watch this.
You might want to turn your volume down because I'm about to cuss a lot. But what I'm about to say, I know millions of Americans feel this way. But this message goes out to President Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, GOP, the Republican Party. What the fuck is taking so long? You're about to complete your first year and no one has been held accountable of weaponizing the DOJ, the fraud that's been exposed, USAID and all that NGO money, the illegal immigrants who were flown to America on U.S. taxpaying dollars, the motherfuckers from Afghanistan sent here who just killed our National Guard. No one has been held fucking accountable yet. And we're getting sick and fucking tired of waiting for accountability. And I don't want to hear that bullshit. Lou, trust the process. It takes time to build a case. No, fuck that. You're in your first year. We know what you know, and we've been calling this shit out for years now. And no one has been held accountable. Not Obama, not Biden, not Clapper, not Brennan, not Comey, not Pelosi. And we've known about this for years. We're getting sick and tired of fucking waiting. We fought day in and day out the last 10 years with our hands tied behind our fucking back, bringing the truth to these stupid ass Americans who believe the bullshit from the left. We got you in that seat. We got them appointed, and then we got the GOP elected. While we were down and they were trying to lock President Trump up, they kept kicking us while we were down. Why in the fuck is the right or you guys giving these fucking people the kid gloves? Why are y'all being nice to these fucking people? Because they weren't nice to us. To this day, they're still not nice to us. They killed Charlie Kirk, motherfuckers. They try to take out President Trump. What the fuck are you waiting for?
What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? I think that's a damn good question. What are we waiting for? And the anger you hear in that man's voice is real. That's not like recorded for clicks. This is what America's feeling. I'm going to say that I guess he's black, Hispanic. Does it really matter? It doesn't matter in my world. But in the world of race that we have been forced to deal and speak in, is there anything that he said that I haven't said? I don't think that man's in law enforcement. Could be wrong. Maybe he's older and retired like I am and let his beard grow out. No, a lot of former law enforcement just say, screw it. I'm just going to grow my facial hair and my hair out. But I would have to assume that he and I are in different careers. And yet I would bet you a month's salary that he and I are absolutely ideologically aligned. Could we have a few disagreements? Absolutely. But are we patriots? Do we want America taken care of? And do we want some effing law and order? Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go from a white man to a black man or Hispanic man. And now let's go to this woman, a Brazilian legal immigrant. And let's hear what she has to say.
I want to talk about how the average American is starting to feel as major corruption is being exposed, especially now with the case in Minnesota and the daycare fraud. This is not just about money being stolen anymore. It's about a growing feeling that being a good citizen, being a hardworking person, paying your taxes may not be worth it. People are starting to feel stupid. They think, well, I'm here, I'm playing by the rules, I am working hard, I'm providing for my family, I'm doing the hard work, and I'm the idiot. You see the memes online and we laugh, like, oh, me on my way to work, thinking that I should have just opened a daycare center in Minnesota and made millions. And again, it is funny, but it's also deeply sad because the next thing is, why am I even doing this? And that's the part that no one wants to talk about because this kind of feeling shapes culture. I come from Brazil, as you know, and in Brazil, we have this thing we call the Brazilian way, which is the idea that there's always a shortcut. There's always a loophole, a way to take advantage of a situation. And people think it comes out of nowhere. Oh, it's just the Brazilian way of living. No, this comes from years of Brazilian people being robbed and nothing being done with the thieves. So we now think that survival means cheating the system before it cheats you. Eventually, people stop believing that being honest is rewarded. When a society teaches its citizens that being honest makes you a loser, well, that's really dangerous. You don't just lose money, you lose trust, you lose dignity, you lose the culture that holds it all together. And once that's gone, it's really hard to get back.
Something she said that really kind of struck me. And she says, when you do nothing, and you allow certain things to happen, it becomes your culture. Think about what made us great, not the immigrants. What made the white Christian settlers that came into America and made it a first world juggernaut? Think about your the people that fought in the Civil War, your great-grandparents, your grandparents, your parents. I was very fortunate. I had two very intelligent, hardworking, God-fearing family, mom and dad. And if you didn't, I'm sorry. But you understand where I'm going. Our culture was one that was rooted in faith, meaning that the world is bigger than you, that we are on earth for the sole reason to get to heaven. And within the parameters of getting to heaven, we must follow the 10 Commandments. We were a nation of civility. We were a nation of kindness, empathy, sympathy. We were a nation that created a social safety net because we didn't want any of our brothers and sisters that fell on hard times to be on the street. It was to see a homeless person, not a mentally ill homeless person. That's bad enough. But children and moms living under bridges, no. That's not tolerated in America. We are better than that. We're going to help her get on her feet. We were a nation that was built on hard work. If the old mantra, the old belief, the culturally accepted idea that if you just worked hard and you worked hard enough and you got a second job, that you would become better. And your generation, your sons and daughters would be better than you financially, have more opportunities, live a higher quality of life. That is gone now because that was the American dream, and the American dream is dead. And before you push back and go, oh, don't say that, JJ, it is dead. It is the first generation. The coming generation is less financially secure, makes less money, has less take home, can't buy a house by almost 2 decades difference from the previous generation. The American dream is dead. Can we revive it? Can we shock it back to life? Yes. But when you shock something, it ain't fun. We're going to go and walk in the park. We're going to shock you, and it's going to cause severe damage and pain to your body. That's where we're at, America. And that lady, that Brazilian lady, that legal Brazilian immigrant, speaking perfect English, someone that's assimilated. If I didn't even tell you, or she didn't tell you she was from Brazil, you wouldn't even think, she's an immigrant, a foreigner. She's an American. She's fully assimilated. She wears the proper attire. She's dressed like an American woman. She speaks with intelligence, critical thinking. Oh, she's an American. She doesn't have 8,000 piercings in her face and tattoos on her face. She doesn't have a bull ring in her nose. She must be an American. She's obviously highly intelligent. She must have gone to school, and education's important to her. The belief and the understanding that the American dream is you just work your ass off. All you have to do is have perseverance, determination, and some grit, and you will survive. And you will not only survive in America, you will thrive. That's over. If you don't think it's over, go ask people that are working a second job, have 2 side hustles, are tired. And I'm going to show you people that are pissed off. I'm going to show you this. Let me pull it up. God, if this doesn't just piss you off. Everything, I'm going to show you this video. Let me try to pull it up first. So it's on stage. I'm going to set this up. So you go from a Brazilian legal immigrant that's attractive, wearing nice clothes, normal clothes, highly intelligent, completely assimilated to the point that you barely hear a slight accent, that you would think, well, I don't even know if she's from. Is she from New York? Is she East Coast? No, she's from Brazil. What? Fully assimilated to this. What in the fuck is that woman wearing? Why is that acceptable? that you wear a black sheet over your body and put a dirty rag on your head? And it gets worse because you're going to hear this, because the lady on the right, the lady wearing the black garbage bags, is going to have to interpret what the lady in the mask hiding herself wearing another dirty headscarf and wearing multiple black coverings, because she doesn't speak English. But she speaks English good enough to put her children in daycare and rob our government. Listen to this crap.
And I request that our government supports our child care centers and stop this heinous crime and this hate that's happening around our state. Thank you.
God almighty. You show Americans a video of the lady from Brazil and say, do you like that? You're okay with that type of immigration? 100% of Americans. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Okay, let me show you another picture. You see these two fat women wearing all black, completely not assimilated, can't speak English. How many of the 100 Americans I'm questioning, how many do you raise your hand and show me by show of hands that you want more of this? I'm probably going to get 5 or 10 people. They're going to have multicolored hair. They're going to be almost asexual with nose rings and piercings and tattoos. And they're going to cry about whatever the hell they're going to cry about. The vast majority of Americans are like, nope, I don't want, and they're going to point out, okay, time out, sir. I think they're Somalians. If they're Somalians, I want them gone, not in my country, gone. God. Dear Lord. Dear Lord. Right on the screen there, you see a company that I partner with, sat123.com. 55 million legal immigrants are in America, with the vast majority staying, a vast percentage of them overstaying their visas. Another 50 million illegal aliens. Some people are even saying as high as 90 million, 60 million are in our country illegally, like that Somalian that I just showed you. Resources are being depleted. I know the first thing you're going to say, well, this is America. We have absolute surplus all the time. We'll always have surplus. Our infrastructure is always going to be maintained and it's going to be excellent. And my retort back is, are you serious? Are you serious? Let's look at Rome. When you match us up to Rome, I think Rome I would have to believe, people would have to say Rome had more success than America. Just by their geographic dominance. They died. The great Greek died. Are we going to sit here and say that we're better than all of those other civilizations? Here's a quick test. If you're listening to this podcast as you're driving, or you're watching it at home, or you're at work and you're sneaking in a couple minutes of this, when you drive home, look around and ask yourself the question: how does my infrastructure look? When you go and fly on an airplane, go to the airport, look around. How's the infrastructure look? Go to a bus station, train station. Get on a subway. How's that infrastructure look? Go to your kid's school as it's falling down. And when you do that, I want you to realize we're giving all of our money away. But I also want you to realize that our infrastructure is a problem. And that is one of the ways. You don't have to look at the world that I do the way I do. That's fine. I understand. But I look at infrastructure and I ask myself, what happens when we go to war? What happens? Natural catastrophe, man-made catastrophe. What happens when our infrastructure begins to fall in on itself because we have 450 to 500 million people in America and we have infrastructure built for 350 million? What do I need to do to be prepared? And what I do to be prepared is I'm going to have a sat phone. I'm going to have communication. I'm going to have a Starlink where I can hit it up and it can shoot up to the satellites, and I have instant communication and I get information, because information and ability to communicate gives me something that everyone else will not be having, and that's time. I will have information. Information is time, and now I can prepare. If you don't believe the way I do, I get it. But if you have a young son or you're married or have a loved one, I would implore you to have the ability to have communication. Let's take it down to an easy level. My son, 14 going on 15, driver's permit. In a year, he'll be able to drive by himself. What if he can't get a hold of me because cell towers are down, or we're in a part of Kansas where he doesn't get coverage and he needs me? Well, he's going to reach into his glove box of the car. He's going to pull out a charged sat phone. He's going to dial my number. And I'm going to get there to help him. That is what at the base level SAT 123 means to me. You can get a free sat phone when you get a subscription. Your subscription is less than $100 a month. And you have connectability. sat123.com/JJ. sat123.com/JJ. I love that company. And I'm proud to have them on my show as a sponsor. sat123.com/JJ. Look at those people. I'm just clicking them off my screen. Look at that. And that's going to lead me into my next. I'm going to set it up. Because I stumbled across this guy. Where was it? Yeah. I stumbled across this guy, Andrew. Let me put him up on the screen. Andrew Branca. He's an attorney. And what he's going to talk about in this clip, really, when I never think when I'm in a room that I'm the smartest guy. Never. I enter a room, I immediately make the decision in my brain, you're not the smartest guy in this room, JJ. I don't care. You're not. I know what my strengths are. I'm not the dumbest. But there's going to be people in the room that know more than I do. And that's fine. I'm not afraid of that, because I can take in information. I have conversation. I can critically think with the best of them. One thing that I do know when I walk in the room, that I am one of the alpha males, that I am one of the strongest. I am the guy that can be the most violent. And I'm kind and I'm compassionate. And I don't want to be violent. And I don't want to be uncivil. And I don't want to be impolite. Because when I enter a room, I'm going to be the most polite gentleman in the room. I'm going to be the most courteous. I'm never going to say anything that's going to make people upset, anything sexual to any woman. I'm going to always be on my best behavior, because that's the way I was raised, and that's the expectation I have for myself. So when I listen to people like this, that it doesn't mean anything to me that someone's an attorney. Doesn't mean anything. When you bring things together, like, okay, this man's an attorney, he's successful, then you listen to him and he's very articulate. Then I start piecing together, okay, this is someone that I want to listen to. And that's someone that I can learn from. That's mainly why I listen to people, is a little entertainment, but vast majority is I need to learn something. And he says something that I know and I've talked about, but he says it in a very different way. And I want you to listen to this, because in this clip, he's talking about some culture, one of or many of the cultures in America are going to be ethnically cleansed. I want to talk to you about what my takeaway on this, but this is fascinating. I want you to hear it because he's actually factually true, and it should frighten you.
And here's the harsh, cold reality, folks. I touched on it at the beginning, but this is a time of choosing. There will not be a multicultural U.S. There will not be an America that would be recognizable to our founders that consists of traditional Americans, white, first world, high IQ, high trust people, and millions of Indians, cultural Indians, whatever their technical citizenship, millions of cultural Somalians, whatever their technical citizenship, millions of Haitians or Venezuelans or Sudanese or any third world country. No such culture can exist. It's not possible. Multiculturalism cannot work and have a cohesive society. Each of those communities turns on the other because we live in a world of scarce resources, and there is no broader connectivity across them. In the context of Europe and America, and I'm afraid Europe's already lost, somebody is going to get ethnically cleansed. Someone has to leave. We can't all live together. There are irreconcilable differences. We have to have a cultural and, by extension, a racial divorce in America. The only question is who's going to be cleansed. Is it going to be white people eradicated from America? America's no longer a first world nation. We're degraded to third world status. That's one option. That's one path I can see happening. Or the only other alternative to that is this remigration, this cleansing of America of these third worlders. I know it's racist. I know. I don't care. Those are the only two possible outcomes. Somebody is getting ethnically cleansed. The only question is who?
The only question is who? I'm going to give him credit, man. I want you to, it's Andrew Branca, Branca show. You can find him on X. Somebody's going to be ethnically cleansed. There's going to be a racial divorce in America. Meaning, and let's just say it as it is, because that's the only way I know how to say it. Let's take the Somalis, but you can take the Tajikistans and the Kyrgyzstans and every other Nigerians and Sudanese and everyone else that's been brought to America. South America, Central America, Mexico, you name it. You're going to have to remove those people from our country. We are incompatible, not just the Muslims from the continent of Africa and the Middle East. We're incompatible with Central America, South America, Mexico. They have different cultures. They have different beliefs. They have different ways of living. You have a high functioning, very ambitious, a culture of progression forward. Hard work. Then you bring in people that never worked because they don't have jobs. They don't have running water. They don't have streets. Then you bring in people that do have, from like, say, Mexico is a quasi third world to first world country, depending on where the hell you can live in Mexico. But the people that can live in Mexico at the high level are not coming here. The people that are living at a high level in Venezuela or Colombia or Ecuador, they're not coming here. We're getting the worst of the worst. We're getting either hardcore criminal gang members, terrorists, or we're getting peasants, illiterate peasants. Something has to give. Is it going to be white America? Like Mr. Branca said, I can see that. And yes, I can see that. I'm watching the demographics of America be completely and utterly altered within a decade, not 2045, which that seems like, oh, that's a forever. That's 19 years now. That's an erroneous number. The real number of whites becoming a minority in their own country is in a decade. In a decade. Something has to be done, and there has to be an understanding that we are either going to purge our nation of these people, the 50 million illegal aliens, or we're going to lose our nation. There's no half place. There's no middle ground. Well, we can no. It's either or. You're either going to have a country of third world peasants that hate us, that share no religious culture, no societal and cultural norms. No, we don't have the same God. They have no understanding of our government. They have no understanding or appreciation of the founding fathers. Hell, they have no understanding and appreciation of the First World War generation, the World War II generation, the Vietnam generation, and now our generation. They have no concept. They don't care that's going to take. That's our choices now, people. That is our choices. And I'm going to show you this next one because one thing that I love about America today is I don't have to like come up with theoreticals. I don't have to sit here day after day talking to you and saying, this is what I think is going to happen. And if this, no. We're living in it. I'm living in it right now. Let me show you a collision of cultures that has been brewing for decades and now has been jammed in our face. We live in a capitalistic, you work your ass off and you succeed world in America. That is being challenged by socialist, Marxist crap. And now I'm going to show you a piece of crap named Bernie Sanders. And as you watch this and you listen to the crowd chant, tax the rich, I want you to understand the guy that's standing up there, the old Jewish man from Vermont, that's wagging his crooked finger at the audience, talking about the rich need to pay their fair share. He has 3 homes. He's a multimillionaire. And the guy he's bringing up to the stage is the new mayor of New York, Mamdani, who is 40 years old or a little under 40 years old and never worked a day in his life, does not have a job. He's from Uganda. He immigrated from Uganda. And he's a Marxist. This is the collision. This is what Andrew Branca is saying when he says we need to ethnically cleanse, or we're going to be ethnically cleansed. We brought over the third world. Now we're living in third world ideas that are becoming third world realities. Listen to this piece of trash.
Lastly, and maybe most importantly, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes.
Did you see him smiling? Let me see if I can bring it back. Tax the rich. Tax the rich. Isn't that special? A man that's never worked a day in his life, and he's coming from a third world Uganda, and he's going to tell us how to live our life. That man, that white Jewish man, that old Jewish man, Bernie Sanders, he has 3 homes that we know about. He's a millionaire. Hell, I can't take anymore. I just can't stand these people. I can't look at them. I just can't stand them. Before I play this next video, I'm looking at the clock. It's going by fast. I want you to support another sponsor that I have, and that's patriotsmade.com. This is how I keep this show on. But I get called and emailed Hey, will you promote this? Will you promote that? Sure. Send me over what you believe in, your product, all that. And then if it doesn't jive with me or I don't use it, I'm not going to promote it. But I'm going to promote Patriots Made because I do use it. patriotsmade.com/JJ. Stop going to the big box stores that hate you, sell products from companies that hate you, and go to a company that's made in America. The products are made by Americans for you, and it's less expensive, and they're green. Not AOC green, meaning fantasy green, but healthy. No plastics, no mRNA, no metals in the lotions. Go to patriotsmade.com/JJ. patriotsmade.com/JJ. Thousands of people have already made the switch or are making the switch and call me and ask me about this constantly. patriotsmade.com/JJ. You will not be disappointed. I'm going to show you this last video because I think it's important to show you this lady, if I can find it, because she is upset. She's angry, and she's rightfully so angry. We're all angry, and we're angry at we have no representation. We're being taxed to oblivion. We have no one that has our back. I want to show you this, and I want you to listen to her anger. The same anger that I have. The same anger America has.
Where the fuck are our Republican representatives with all of this fucking fraud going on? I haven't heard not one of you fucking speak up. I see a couple posts that have gone up on like X, but that's about it. Where the fuck are our representatives? It's getting to the point where you guys are going to make us patriots start running. You're going to force us to fucking run. Do I have to fucking run? Do I need to run so that people actually have a fucking voice? Because this is ridiculous. Where's our representation? Because at this point, y'all are taxing the fuck out of us and you ain't representing shit. Why is our money being given to people who aren't even from here? And why is this not being immediately investigated and arrests being made? We know for a fact the Democrats were in on this. Something needs to fucking happen. Do I need to fucking run? Do I need to fucking run? Should I?
The language is tough. But that is the mentality of Americans today. I showed you a white woman, red-headed white woman. I showed you a Brazilian lady that came here legally. I showed you an American man, alpha male that's black, Hispanic, mixed, I don't even know. And you're looking at me. And we're all aligned with our burning anger at what has been allowed to happen to the United States of America. We've allowed our country to fall into disrepair. We've allowed people that hate us to steal from us and then go on social media and mock us. Actually telling us, you white people, and he's talking about blacks and Hispanic Americans, you all need to get back to work because they need us to work so they can keep stealing. I'm going to tell you something. We are closer to a civil war, a violent overthrow, a violent kinetic war in America than you can even understand. It's coming. What shape will it be in? I don't know. How will the actual war happen? Don't know. What will start it? Don't know. But I do know that when it does happen, it will rip America apart. Unless, like Mr. Branca said, we begin to cleanse our nation of the enemy. And that must start right now.